Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Today, my guest is Senator Mike Braun, who joins me to talk stimulus, the fight for 15, and more. Senator, thanks for coming on.
Hey, my pleasure.
So let's talk about the giant stimulus bill that President Biden is about to sign into law. If you take out the 1.9 trillion price tag and split it up for every American, you get a number that's much smaller than the money that everyone will actually receive. Where's this all going?
Well, since I've been here, things are denominated in trillions, not hundreds of billions. We spend so much money here. And listen to this as well. 23% of it we borrow every year routinely. All 4 trillion that we authorized, 3 of which we spent, trillion of which we haven't even spent or obligated. Now we add another 2 onto it. That's about 30% of our total economy size. There's a lot of money. It doesn't make any difference here because most of my cohorts don't understand the macroeconomics, have never run a business, and this place reflects it. I mean, you couldn't see a place that is more dysfunctional than my new employer.
So one thing that interests me there is that these people who are pushing the stimulus bill keep talking about COVID, defeat COVID, American Rescue Plan. But according even to PolitiFact, which is a fact checker with a liberal bias, more than 90% of the spending in this is not related to COVID. Do you think people or your constituents or voters across the country who might be upset with Republican officials for voting no, do you think they know that this bill isn't actually that much to do with COVID?
When you look at pensions being bailed out, mostly in blue states, when you look at state governments and the way they configured it, it wasn't based upon population, it was based upon population and how high your unemployment rate has been. Well, first beneficiary, California, 42 billion of the 350 billion. I think Illinois was right in there, and New Jersey, New York. 8 of the 10 states were blue states that had blanket shutdowns, no respect for keeping the economic patient healthy, did what government and bureaucrats do. Get their point of view out there, have no respect for the productive economy, and then want government, all of us, to bail you out. And I think there are going to be enough ugly items in there. You can't get it out with 11 hours Ron Johnson required to read it. Nobody was listening to it because I think a lot of that was overnight. And it was rammed through, no committee work, but we've got time. And I'll say this, my party is slow-footed compared to Democrats. They find that crisis, they run with it, they run their elections that way. We need to get a little better at playing their game.
Well, and that message of fiscal conservatism about the blowout spending and the waste and the corruption and the pet projects, that's a strong message. But how do you convince people that they should care about things like the national debt and government spending when for most people on Main Street, that's kind of slipped to the back of their mind these last few years? How do you convince them that it is important to worry about that right now?
And you're seeing that in our party, which has turned more populist because I think that our new coalition is the working person. It is small business, entrepreneurs. The other side is aligned in a more elitist way with big business, now ironically partnering up with a lot of their agenda, especially on the cultural, items. So I think that when it comes to in the moment, it's hard for that person that knows it doesn't make sense, but that has not been getting any of the largesse to speak of that comes out of DC. A lot of that goes to big companies, goes to the healthcare industry that has got so much in statute and IRS code and things that make them immune to competition, transparency. You can't blame them for thinking that. But they also know this doesn't sound wholesome in the long run. And what I've been able to do and have tried to do is keep it understandable, make that argument that does not sound very interesting to listen to because it's got a lot of realism to it. But if we articulate it correctly into the 2022 election, use this when everybody understands the details, we can come out ahead. But it's got to be a different kind of Republican Party. Quicker on our feet, pay attention to the people that support us. That's small business, entrepreneurs, Main Street, not Wall Street and big business. We'll be okay.